Senator Joe Manchin acts like a real tough guy when he's in the Senate and he stops and serves as an obstacle to any type of social spending. But when reporters ask him about it, pudding soft, as Cenk would say. In fact, he didn't like the fact that one reporter specifically wanted to ask about his take on the child tax credit. Now, that would be part of the Build Back Better agenda, which the Senate is essentially shelving because they've given up on it. But nonetheless, Arthur Delaney asks this. I had asked if it was true he wanted the child tax credit out of the Build Back Better agenda. I've always been for child tax credits, he said. So I asked if he wants it to continue paying parents $300 a month, and he said he was not going to negotiate with me and that I'm BS. You know, there was no censorship of the curse there when Manchin said it.
It's funny that we have to censor it, but the senators don't.
Right.
Anyway, Manchin declared the situation BS and that reporter BS.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you, the reporter is not BS. That is, of course, true. It's a little bit more nuanced than that. One of the tricks that Manchin is doing, apparently, according to word from the negotiations, is that he's saying, look, I want the child tax credit, but I want to make it 10 years of accounting for it. And that would swallow up 1.5 out of the $1.75 trillion bill, thereby pushing out almost every other priority. Universal pre-K is gone, climate change, $500 billion is gone. Almost all of it is gone. So does he actually care about child tax credit? No, he could just do the 1-year extension and still have those other priorities. He's trying to kill off the other priorities, partly because he owns a coal company and almost all of his donors are against the bill. So he's using child tax credit as an excuse.
Exactly. And the fact that he owns a coal company is relevant here because there are other provisions in the Build Back Better agenda that would threaten the profits that he personally makes from fossil fuels, namely coal. And so he's never liked the social spending plan and has been against it. He's served as an obstacle for it since day one. And President Joe Biden, I'm sure, is incredibly furious with this because this is Biden's agenda, which has been pared back by conservative Democratic lawmakers in the Senate, like Manchin, like Kyrsten Sinema. And so he is fighting Manchin aggressively right now by giving Manchin's wife a job that she really wants, and other things like complimentary commentary during press interviews about Manchin. So that's great. Now, in a subsequent tweet, Arthur Delaney also says, everyone around here is for the child tax credit. It's a question of whether, this is what Manchin told him, it's a question of whether you want to keep paying parents as much as $300 per month. If the advance monthly payments and extra $1,600 expire at the end of the month, there will still be a $2,000 partially refundable credit. And in response to that, David Dayen pointed out something important. That $2,000 partially refundable credit is not permanent. It actually expires in 2025. And after 2025, it goes down from $2,000 to $1,000. Because we really love to support families in this country. That's really our priority here,
So there's a couple other motivations here that are really important. First of all, to give you a sense of the devastation that is about to be headed in our direction, once they cut off the child tax credit, about 1/3 of all American families say they are going to have trouble paying their bills. So now, why do they want that? It's not like, oh, oops, yeah, because I want to make my donors happy, you guys are going to have to suffer, but it's your collateral damage. No. You're not just collateral damage. They want you to suffer, not gratuitously. They have a business purpose in mind. You need to suffer enough so that you'll go back to working for lower wages. Because, we got a labor shortage here. Take away everything from them. Any funding you were giving to them, take it away from them and make them miserable and dependent on corporate America again. Mm-hmm. And so that is Joe Manchin's agenda. The reason why he's so mad in this case is, and it's telling, it's because for 40 years now, people in Washington have been treated as the elites by the mainstream media.
They're never challenged.
Never, ever challenged. In fact, whatever they say is repeated 1,000 times, and mainstream media acts as their PR agents. and amplifies their message as if it's true. So that is why senators like Manchin are genuinely shocked when a reporter asks them a real question. Hey, it looks like you're gonna tank the bill. And by the way, he did tank the bill. It's over. They said, oh, we're gonna go move on to voting rights. And now Build Back Better is not even on the agenda anymore. He killed it effectively. And so Durbin says, oh, we'll come back to it. I've heard that 1,000 times. They never come back to it. Have they come back to $15 minimum wage? Oh, we're coming back to it, wink. They aren't coming back to anything, okay? So when Manchin gets asked actually a relatively simple question, because they're just asking, hey, this is what you did.
Yeah.
Can you just tell us why you did it? He's in a rage over it because he's like, because he assumes you're supposed to be working for me.
Yes.
Okay? And why aren't you doing my marketing?
But there's something else that's really, really important here. That line of questioning proves that Manchin is pushing for something that's unpopular, something that is not even gonna sit well in the state of West Virginia, which he claims, it's a red state, what can I do? Because people living in West Virginia love to be neglected and abandoned by their representatives and their senators, right? They love to be abandoned and neglected when it comes to their economic needs, right? No, he knows that it's unpopular. He doesn't want to be held accountable for it. But if Biden and if congressional Democrats who claim they actually want these provisions included in the Build Back Better agenda actually campaigned aggressively in his own state and applied the necessary pressure, I think he's bendable. I think that he would end up signing off on a more robust Build Back Better agenda. But they're unwilling to do it. That's the problem. This nonsense about decorum, this nonsense about like, oh, we need unity in our party, which means we can never speak out against one of our own, even when they're fighting against our agenda. Like, it is a problem in the Democratic Party, period.
Yeah, and Anna, I realized that the people who were pre-Justice Democrats starting in 2018, the people who were in office at that point are pretty much hopeless. And Noam Chomsky and I talked about this in an interview that we did, that older generation is so thoroughly corrupt and accepts corruption as the normal state of affairs. To them, the idea of challenging a Democratic colleague for taking campaign contributions from oil companies and killing off climate change legislation, they find that so reprehensible, not the corruption, calling out the corruption. They think that's the most impolite thing that it has, and we would be all tarred and feathered and removed from the party, and it would be a violation of unity. No, we all have to lie for one another, and we all have to cover up the corruption. So they don't view that as an option. We keep asking them to do something they would never do in a million years, which is admit the corruption of one of their own.
Right.
So you need the new generation, the 6 that voted no and were right all along, to come in and say, yeah, no, they're obviously corrupt, and they should do a massive, when Build Back Better appears to be dead. So you got nothing left to lose. Voting rights appears to be dead. Now Sinema says under no circumstances is she gonna change the filibuster. Since everything is already dead, you have nothing left to lose. You should go obliterate one of them. They are very vulnerable in their home states. The polling indicates their positions are deeply unpopular. So somebody needs to go be an enforcer for progressives. Until that person steps up, we're never gonna win on any of these. The corruption will go unabated. You'll have no bills, none of the progressive priorities. What Joe Manchin said earlier, I'm sorry, what Joe Biden said about all of his so-called agenda, it's both. He's incredibly weak and he never meant it. It was always a lie that was bolstered by the marketing of mainstream media pretending it was real. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.